Have you ever had that moment when you've met someone and you immediately didn't like them? You had that knee-jerk reaction when they just kind of rub you the wrong way? I hate to admit it, but I have. And as a hairstylist for over 35 years, I've had the opportunity to meet many new clients, and some very irritating ones. Some people just don't seem very likable, and they're hard to get along with. So how do we treat them? Do we ignore them? Do we tell them how we really feel? Do we have to fake kindness, or can we truly be kind? Well, I have learned that if I try to look past that first impression and see others in a different way, as someone I can learn to like or even love, that it has brought a great sense of peace and happiness to my life. So today I'd like to share with you why I believe it's best to look for the good in others and to be kind, and to talk about the Golden Rule and some of the people and religions around the world that believe in that way of being, and how being kind and giving others a chance to win us over can improve our lives. So today I hope to persuade you to give those seemingly unlikable people a chance and to find the good in them, to treat them with kindness and to see how it can improve your life. So why do I do this? Well, I'm a Christian, and it's one of the two great commandments, to love God and to love our neighbor. And don't we all really want to be treated well by others? To do unto others as we want others to do unto us, the Golden Rule. I like to think of it as a way of looking at others and taking it to a deeper place of true understanding that we are all children of God and we deserve to be treated with kindness. So practically every faith that exists in the world today has some form of this Golden Rule as part of its teachings. So we can see that it is a universal want to be treated well, with kindness and with love. As Sidney Smith, a great English preacher and author of the 1700s, said, "To love and to be loved is the greatest happiness of existence." And I agree. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we, along with other Christian faiths, believe in what was said by Christ himself as the Sermon on the Mount. "Whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them." Now that's found in the Bible, Matthew 7:12. Now, I found a great website called Near Neighbors, and it talks of all sorts of people and religions and the similarities on the Golden Rule. And some of these religions around the world and people are the Hindus. Now, in Hinduism, the oldest recorded version of the Golden Rule comes from before 2000 BC, from the Hindu faith, and it says, one should always treat others as they wish to be treated. In Judaism, we can find in Leviticus 19:18, you should not take vengeance or bear a grudge against your kinsfolk. Love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. In Buddhism, hurt not others in ways that you yourself would find hurtful. And we have Confucius himself. He's China's most famous teacher and philosopher. In Confucianism, he said, do not impose on others what you do not wish for yourself. So clearly, with all of these faiths and people that agree on this Golden Rule, we can, as a collective whole, work on being nice and adopt this way of thinking. I believe if more of us did this, our lives would improve for the better, because mine has. Now, I remember being in a class years ago and challenged to look for the good in someone that we didn't initially get along with, and learn to see them in a different way. So I decided to take that challenge on, and with a person named Betsy. She was a thorn in my side. Now let me give you a little background on Betsy. Her coworkers had been asked for my phone number by her to get her hair done. And after giving her my number, they called me to apologize. And they said, don't feel obligated to take her on as a client. But I had heard the stories and gossip about her over the years, and I was curious. And so I decided to take her on and let her come in for an appointment. So what was I getting myself into? Well, meeting Betsy for the first time was definitely an interesting day. She walked in and took one look at me, and she asked, where's Liz? And I said, oh, I'm Liz. And I said, you must be Betsy. And she took one look at me and said, oh. I said, excuse me? And she said, you're not what I was expecting. And I said, well, I'm sorry to disappoint you. and went on to cut her hair, and the rest of the appointment didn't get much better. But at the end of that appointment, she would book another appointment. And she continued to do that for years. Each appointment was just as negative and just as difficult to sit through with her. But I have to give her credit where credit is due. She was a great customer. She kept making these appointments. She would show up on time. She paid well, and she just wasn't very fun to be around. The negativity was drowning me, and I would have anxiety before she would come in. But I couldn't get rid of her. I didn't know how to tell her I didn't want to do her hair anymore, and so I felt stuck. So when challenged who I could learn to see in a different way, I chose Betsy. So I decided I had to find something that I could like about her or talk about things that she would like. But one thing I knew about Betsy is she loved to bake. And so as she came in, we would talk about baking because I knew how to bake. I'd grown up as with my mom as a baker and would have to help her bake wedding cakes. And frankly, I didn't like it because I was a teenager. I was rebellious and I was forced to do it. And so I just never continued to do that as I became an adult. And yet I could talk about baking with Betsy because I knew how to do it. So I would pretend to enjoy it. And we would share recipes. And as time went on, she started to bring me treats. And that was a great part of it because she was a great baker and everything she brought was delicious. But one day she would bring me a life-changing plate of cinnamon rolls. Now I have to say these were the best cinnamon rolls I'd ever had. And as she left, I opened up this plate of cinnamon rolls, and when I took a bite, I decided I needed to eat all 4 of them. And I obsessed over these cinnamon rolls for the next few days. And as I got home that weekend, it was a holiday weekend, I decided I wanted to recreate them. And I would spend the next 3 days trying to recreate these delicious cinnamon rolls. Now, I could have called Betsy and asked her for the recipe, but I hadn't really learned to like her yet. I just decided that I could try to do it on my own. But what I did figure out was that I loved to bake. And I loved to share what I was baking, taking it to all my neighbors. And what I found was a passion that I had for this new hobby. And now who was looking forward to Betsy's visits? Me. I couldn't wait till she came in. And we would talk baking, and I was passionate, and I would glean any information I could from her. And she asked if I'd like to start taking cooking and baking classes with her. And I did. And over the years, she and I became dear friends. And out of this, I have found a hobby that I absolutely love and has improved my life tremendously. And if I hadn't taken on that challenge to find the good in others and to find the good in Betsy, I may have never found this level of happiness from something I enjoy today so much. But my favorite part of this story isn't that Betsy and I became friends and she changed and became this wonderful person. In fact, Betsy isn't any different today than she was when I met her in my 20s. She's just as rude and not very kind. And yet I have learned to love her for who she is. And I enjoy my time with her. And who changed? It was me. I changed. I learned that I could love people that are seemingly unlikable. Now, all in all, really getting to know others and finding the good in them and treating them like I wanted to be treated has blessed my life tremendously. And I truly look forward to each new difficult person that I get to learn to like and love. So in conclusion, there will always be difficult people in our lives, and I believe that we can give them a chance and look for the good and imagine how much better our lives would be. We would have more joy, less stress, more love and acceptance. And as the Golden Rule says, treat others how you want to be treated. Accept others for who they are, and don't we all want to be loved for who we really are, problems and all? I know I do. Our lives will be better for it, and I say give it a try and see what happens.